Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Wade Fission 8, and this is the panda colorway, which I guess it kind of is a panda colorway because it's black and white, but there's like some pink and like light green colors, so not really panda. But anyways, this shoe is retailing for 120 bucks. So if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave the affiliate link in the description box. This is one of the cheapest shoes that Wade has to offer, so we'll see if it is worth the price, right? But anyways, let's get it started off with the tracciones, and in this colorway we kind of have like an infinity pattern going throughout this entire outsole, and then we have like a DNA imprint in the middle of the outsole, right? Which is pretty cool. And then we can see there's like a black, maybe that's why it's called panda colorway, because these are like panda eyes, maybe? I don't know. Or it kind of looks like a zoom unit. It looks like there's a 4-foot zoom unit right here because of the shape, right? But yeah, so this is called tough rubber, right? And as you guys all know, Chinese companies, they all make very, very durable outsoles just because they're demographic. A lot of Chinese people in China play on outdoor courts apparently. So yeah, this is tough rubber. So the rubber is actually very, very hard. The grooves are deep, and also there's a lot of surface area, so it feels like it's gonna be very good for outdoor use. How does the traction feel? Oh my gosh guys, it feels really, really good. So just on my wood floors right now, there is a very, very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which of course sounds really, really good. That has nothing to do with performance, but it sounds really good. And it seems to have a really, really good bite so far on my wood floors. Of course, the main thing I'm gonna need to test out is the performance on dust, right? Is it gonna pick up a lot of dust? I don't know, we'll have to see on that. There is a little bit of a texture. There's a little texture on that infinity symbol kind of pattern. So we'll have to see, like, will it get even better once I rub that off a little bit. But the traction so far is seeming really, really good. And also it's kind of like a decoupled midsole, because if you guys can see, it dips in right here. It's like a concave shape, so the middle of the outsole does not have contact with the ground, although it's not like completely decoupled, right? And as you guys can see, there is a midfoot shank plate, right? It kind of comes out and is exposed through the outsole right here, and it comes all the way into the lateral side of the shoe, acting as a lateral counter as well. So it's multi-purpose, it's multifunctional, and we can see the Wade logo. And also this kind of reminds me of the Wild 10. It's a pretty cool design, right? All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. Overall, it feels pretty smooth so far. Here in the heel, however, they did cage up the heel a good amount. As you guys can see, the rubber outsole does come up to cage the actual midsole a good amount, but we have a really nice rounded shape, so overall it does feel pretty smooth. And then here in the forefoot we have a very curved shape and a good amount of forefoot flex. Look at that. So overall it feels pretty smooth so far. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. The cushioning setup is a little disappointing, I would say, right? So they're using light foam plus, right? And this is just for the midsole. So here on the lateral side, it's crazy cage. The only part that is exposed kind of is here in the heel, and as you guys can see, a little bit in the forefoot. Oh my god, look at that. That's so small. Now on the medial side, it's a little bit more exposed. It's actually really soft. When you press it with your fingers, it's actually really soft, but they did cage it a good amount. Also in the forefoot on the lateral side, I guess that's good because you get more grip if you're doing these types of movements. But it is very, very caged, which kind of does suck. There's not a whole lot of compression from the actual midsole because of all the caging. But also, if you look at the insole is alright. It's just a regular ortholite insole, it feels like. But also, if you look underneath the insole, we can see the strobo board, right? And they're using their soft mesh strobo board, which I love. Wade does the strobo board really, really well, just because step-in comfort is really important to me. It improves the comfort a lot, and also the impact protection, stuff like that. You can feel the foam a lot more, in my personal opinion. So I do like that. However, we have two boom pods, right? We have a boom pod here in the heel, and it's top loaded. And then in the forefoot, if you look at the actual like dismantled like tech view of the shoe, it looks like there is a forefoot boom pod, but it also looks like it's bottom loaded. And if you look at the actual strobo board, you can't really see the exposed boom in the forefoot. You can see the exposed boom here in the heel, which does feel pretty soft, and it actually does feel nice, like right where your heel is. But in the forefoot, it's a little bit more dead. And you can see the exposed boom pod, right? It's white, but then around that it's black. And this like black part is actually really stiff, right? It's rock hard, and it's like that around the boom pod in the heel. It's like that in the midfoot, and also in the forefoot is actually pretty stiff. So step-in comfort actually isn't amazing, right? It's just kind of nice in the heel, so I don't really like how they did that. Core feel does seem good. Impact protection we'll have to see on. It's just that I don't know why they put that material. They use a soft mesh showboard, but then underneath that it's like kind of stiff, right? So we'll have to see on that. Maybe once I break it in, once I plane it, and then like the heat from my foot and like sweat break in the material gets a little bit softer. But right now the cushion is feeling just more on the responsive and stiff side of things with a little bit of step and comfort for the heel, right? So I would say like out of all the shoes that I've tried from the Wade like shoe line, like the Son of Flash, the AC11, the Wild 10, even the Shadow 4, this is definitely the stiffest so far. I mean, it is the cheapest shoe as well, and cheaper shoes tend to have crappier midsoles or cushioning setup, so that does make sense, but that definitely does suck, right? So there's that. Moving on to the material, so we have a mix of mesh. We have a very open mesh here in the toe box, and it's basically, they're calling it a cool shell, right? They're targeting the summer market, I guess. So they're saying that the ventilation is really good, and let's see if there's good airflow. Yeah, there's pretty good airflow, especially through this well-ventilated like open mesh. It's super thin, it conforms to your foot. It does seem pretty supportive as well. There is just a tiny bit of stretch to it, but overall it does feel pretty supportive. And then around the toe box, we do have some fuse, right? They're using a good amount of fuse in this material, but it doesn't feel super cheap or anything as far as the fuse goes. And there is a little bit of flywire, right? Where the pink is on the lateral and also on the medial side. And you guys can see the flywire. Flywire's, you know, it's Nike, but I feel like everyone just knows it as flywire, right? But anyways, yeah, you can see the wire go through the actual material. Once you tighten the laces, right, it kind of tightens over your foot, especially here in the midfoot where the flywire is, giving you better lockdown and also better support, which is a good thing. It stays extremely thin here in the midfoot, right? Extremely thin. There's really no padding. And also for the tongue, it's really thin. It's basically just this material with some like circle ventilation holes. And then in the middle of the tongue, there is a little bit of padding, right? They stitched like a foam to it, but it's like, it's just on top of your foot and it's not super well padded, right? And then here in the ankle area, there's also really minimal padding. So overall, the material, the quality is all right. You know, I wouldn't say it's the best, but also it's not terrible. It feels nice on foot. It's minimal. It feels thin. And overall, it does feel supportive so far. Of course, I didn't plane it yet. And then here in the heel, we also have what they're calling heel lock, right? It's just this black plastic. It's basically just like an external heel counter. And this doesn't really do anything as far as like a heel tab or a pull tab or whatever, but this shoe is overall easy to put on because it does have a little bit of a heel tab here and it does come up a good amount. So overall material, pretty damn nice. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size and it fits me overall pretty well. Length wise, I would say there is a little bit of length though. There's just a tiny bit. But I wouldn't suggest going down half a size. I feel like if I went down half a size, it'd be a little too short. Also here in the toe box, I would say it's like a normal fit. You know, it's not super snug, it's not super loose or anything like that. Hopefully this mesh material doesn't stretch out too much, but I feel like it will. So yeah, just because mesh usually, especially a mesh like this, it does stretch out over time. So the fit will probably get worse for me because, you know, it'll stretch out. And then for the width, I'd say it's around a normal width, right? So not super narrow, not super wide or anything like that. So it's a very normal fit, I would say. So overall, it's all right for me. But most people, I feel like if you want like that normal fit, not too snug, not too loose, you should be fine going true to size, right? And now moving on to the support and lockdown, it feels like it's going really good, right? So here on the lateral side, in the forefoot, the foam does come up acting as a sidewall, and we do have a good amount of fuse right here as well. So that stiffens up the upper and adds a good amount of support, right? And also the rubber outsole comes up, and this is actually the leaning logo. But yeah, that does come up to act as a sidewall here in the midfoot. And then here in the heel, we have this piece as well. Like I mentioned before, it comes up acting as a sidewall and seems to have an internal TPU heel counter, and also there is this heel lock, right? So lateral containment, this shoe feels like it's gonna be very good, and also lateral stability. This is very interesting, right? So look at this outrigger. This is a really interesting and really cool design. It's like a circle shape, right? But then they added these edges, right? So it kind of protrudes out and it does give you a wide, stable base. So you're not laterally unstable. So that's a pretty cool design. So lateral stability feels like it's going to be good as well. Moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like it's going to be like maybe just like average weight, like 11-12 ounces. I feel like it's what it's going to come out to be. Oh, 11.35 ounces. That's actually a little bit lighter than average. 11.4. 11.35 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes are around 12.5 ounces. So like an ounce lighter than average, which is of course a very good thing. This shoe does feel light on foot, and it also does feel very, very minimal because of the super minimal upper, right? So overall it feels really good, and I feel like it's gonna be super responsive as well because the traction seems really good too. So I'm liking how it feels on foot so far. And now moving on to the aesthetics, it looks great. I feel like, I don't know, Wade does not make ugly shoes. They make really good looking shoes. Whatever their design team is on over there, they're doing a really, really good job. This shoe is actually inspired by dragonflies, it says, but I don't really see the dragonfly. Either way, it looks good. It looks good on foot. I really like the colorway here as well. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah. So yeah, my first impressions of the Fission 8 is looking real good. I'm liking it so far, and I'm very excited to play in it. Just a little bit disappointed in the cushion so far. You know, just because, you know, Wade has had amazing cushion, basically all of their shoes. But other than that, I feel like it's gonna be a very good performance. And the 120 bucks is like on the edge of budget shoe and going into like mid-tier pricing, right? So it's still pretty like on the cheaper side of things, especially for Wade. So I am very excited about this shoe, right? But anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Fission 8. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave the affiliate link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.